Hello friends. What if I told you that Aquarius, the most unpredictable sign in the zodiac, could form deep, lifelong friendships with signs you'd least expect, including the deeply emotional Cancer or the detail-obsessed Virgo? That's right, while Aquarians are often labeled as aloof or eccentric, when it comes to friendship, they're surprisingly loyal, fiercely protective, and wildly inspiring. But only if you can match their frequency. Let's break down exactly how Aquarius connects with each zodiac sign when it comes to friendship, the highs, the lows, and the downright weird dynamics. Get ready, because some of these might blow your mind. Aquarius Aries, the rebels unite. This friendship is like throwing fireworks into a wind tunnel, loud, electric, and totally unforgettable. Aquarius and Aries, both natural-born renegades, instantly recognize something kindred in each other. Aries brings passion, enthusiasm, and a get-it-done attitude. Aquarius brings innovation, unexpected brilliance, and a thirst for doing things their way, even if no one else gets it. These two aren't here to blend in. They're here to break the mold. From the moment they meet, their connection is magnetic. It's not just about shared interests, though they'll likely bond over offbeat hobbies, progressive ideas, or a love for anything extreme. It's about shared energy. They're both wired to go against the grain, so when they team up, it's like two comets colliding, a beautiful, explosive spectacle that leaves an impression on everyone around them. What makes this friendship so alive is their mutual respect for each other's independence. Aries doesn't cling, and Aquarius doesn't control. They both value freedom, which means they're not likely to get possessive or needy. They give each other space to be exactly who they are, and cheer each other on while doing it. When Aries starts a new project, Aquarius is the first to say, "Do it, but bigger." And when Aquarius has a crazy idea, Aries says, "Let's make it happen right now." Together, they thrive on spontaneous adventures. These are the friends who might book a last-minute flight to Iceland, dye their hair at midnight for no reason, or organize a flash mob just to prove they can. Boredom doesn't stand a chance in their world. With Aries fire and Aquarius air, they fuel each other in unpredictable, exhilarating ways. They're the kind of duo that people either envy or don't understand at all. But for all the excitement, this friendship isn't without its friction. Aries, ruled by Mars, tends to be direct, reactive, and occasionally aggressive. They speak before they think, act before they plan, and feel things fast and loud. Aquarius, on the other hand, is ruled by Uranus and Saturn, planets that lend an icy coolness and a cerebral vibe. Aquarians don't always respond to emotion the way Aries expects. They're thinkers, not reactors. So when Aries wants instant validation or emotional support, Aquarius might respond with detached logic or disappear into their own thoughts. That's where misunderstandings creep in. Communication can be a battlefield. Aries might feel ignored or undervalued when Aquarius doesn't match their intensity. Meanwhile, Aquarius can get overwhelmed or annoyed by Aries' need for immediacy. Aquarius wants to discuss the why, while Aries just wants to go. But if they learn to meet in the middle, Aries slowing down, Aquarius opening up, they'll find that their differences are actually what make the friendship stronger. What really holds this friendship together is mutual admiration. Aries is often impressed by Aquarius' unique way of seeing the world. There's a genius quality to Aquarius that fascinates the Aries mind, even if Aries doesn't always understand it. Aquarius, meanwhile, appreciates Aries' courage and drive. Aries charges forward where Aquarius hesitates, and that action-oriented nature can push Aquarius out of overthinking mode. They motivate each other in opposite but complementary ways. Another strength? These two don't compete with each other. Unlike Aries with other strong personalities, Aquarius isn't interested in power plays. They don't care about being the center of attention, they care about ideas. That difference cools down potential ego clashes and creates a dynamic where Aries can shine and Aquarius can innovate, without stepping on each other's toes. And when things get tough, which they will, because both signs are stubborn, their loyalty kicks in. Aries doesn't give up on friends easily, and Aquarius, for all their emotional distance, is fiercely loyal once someone earns their trust. If a challenge arises, They'll either argue it out in a blazing showdown or give each other space, then reconnect like nothing happened. Drama doesn't last long between these two. Neither has the patience for grudges. In social settings, they're unstoppable. Aries brings the charisma, Aquarius brings the intrigue. They're the pair everyone wants at their party, unpredictable, hilarious, maybe a little controversial, but always unforgettable. Whether they're leading a protest, starting a viral trend, or just making everyone laugh with their strange banter, they leave a mark wherever they go. In short, this is a friendship built for speed, revolution, and late-night pizza orders after doing something wildly unnecessary but somehow deeply fulfilling. If they can balance Aries' impulsiveness with Aquarius' detachment, and learn to actually hear each other in those moments of conflict, they'll have a bond that's not only fun but future-proof. Verdict: 9/10 compatibility, thrilling, spontaneous, and just the right kind of chaos. Aquarius Taurus, the earthquake in the sky. This is not your typical opposites attract story. This is more like two elements from entirely different universes trying to coexist on the same planet. Aquarius is air, restless, visionary, and perpetually living 6 steps ahead of everyone else. Taurus is earth, grounded, steady, and deeply invested in what's tangible, proven, and real. When these two signs become friends, it's like trying to anchor a thunderstorm, a beautiful paradox that's equal parts inspiring and infuriating. Aquarius craves freedom, not the kind of freedom that's just about doing what you want, but the existential kind, the freedom to think without limitation, to explore wild ideas, to detach from expectation and move through life without being pinned down by tradition or predictability. In friendships, Aquarius thrives on stimulating conversations, spontaneity, and people who challenge their intellect. Taurus, on the other hand, seeks stability. They find peace in routine, comfort in the known, and satisfaction in the tactile pleasures of life: good food, reliable routines, deep trust built over time. They value consistency, loyalty, and quiet reliability in their friendships. To Taurus, true friends are the ones who show up on time, follow through, and aren't constantly reinventing themselves like human kaleidoscopes. So, what happens when these two try to be friends? Friction, but not without fascination. From the start, Taurus might feel uncertain around Aquarius. They're not quite sure what to make of someone who seems allergic to plans, commitments, or staying on one topic for longer than 5 minutes. Aquarius might come off as erratic or even cold, skipping texts, ghosting group chats, suddenly showing up with a shaved head and a new philosophy on life. Taurus, who finds comfort in predictability, may instinctively resist this energy. At the same time, Aquarius could find Taurus a little immovable. Not in a cruel way. In fact, Aquarius may admire Taurus' loyalty and integrity, but they might also feel like Taurus is too obsessed with routines, too afraid to shake things up, too emotionally anchored to how things have always been. For Aquarius, life is about breaking cycles. For Taurus, it's about honoring them. Yet despite these contrasts, there's potential here, not for effortless friendship, but for meaningful growth. When Aquarius slows down enough to see Taurus, really see the value in that unwavering loyalty, that calm presence, that grounded wisdom, they might realize that not all structure is limiting. Some of it is supportive. Taurus, in their gentle, dependable way, can become the emotional home base that Aquarius didn't know they needed. A lighthouse in the storm. Meanwhile, when Taurus learns to loosen their grip a little, Aquarius becomes their guide to expansion. Aquarius can show Taurus a world beyond the one they've carefully curated, a world of ideas, innovation, and progress. Taurus may never fully embrace Aquarius' chaos, but they might start asking bigger questions, taking small risks, or dreaming beyond their comfort zone. And that's growth. Of course, getting to this point requires work, and, more importantly, mutual respect. Taurus needs to resist the urge to fix Aquarius or pull them back to Earth every time they take flight. Aquarius needs to understand that Taurus' stability isn't small-mindedness, it's a form of care. These two can frustrate each other easily, but if they choose patience over judgment, their friendship can evolve from confusion to connection. The key lies in communication. Taurus must learn that Aquarius won't always respond emotionally, but that doesn't mean they don't care. Aquarius processes feelings through logic, often stepping back to analyze rather than diving in. Meanwhile, Aquarius must remember that Taurus feels things deeply, even if they don't always express it. They need affirmation, presence, and time to feel safe. If Aquarius dismisses Taurus' emotional needs as too much, they'll lose trust. If Taurus assumes Aquarius is careless or cold, they'll miss the nuance. In daily life, this friendship has both charm and challenge. Aquarius might want to try the weird new fusion taco place in a sketchy alley. Taurus just wants their tried and true Italian spot. Aquarius wants to talk about colonizing Mars. Taurus wants to know what's happening here and now. Aquarius might skip a birthday party for a tech convention. Taurus won't forget that. But when they do find shared ground, whether it's a shared cause, a creative project, or just mutual curiosity, they can build something truly unique. Aquarius brings the big picture. Taurus brings the steps. Aquarius offers ideas. Taurus delivers consistency. Together, they can manifest dreams, not just imagine them. That said, this friendship will likely be defined by phases. Periods of closeness, followed by long stretches of distance, especially if misunderstandings pile up. Some Aquarius-Taurus friendships dissolve quickly due to stubbornness on both sides. Neither likes being told they're wrong. But those that last, they're built on deep mutual learning, the kind where both people grow into better, broader versions of themselves. Aquarius teaches Taurus how to be curious about the unknown. Taurus teaches Aquarius how to commit to something real. And when they stop trying to change each other and instead start trying to understand each other, the result is a rare and grounding kind of friendship, not loud or flashy, but steady and transformative. In the end, Aquarius and Taurus are like the sky and the soil. They may not always touch, but when they do, that's where things grow. Verdict: 4/10 compatibility, potential for growth, but only with serious patience. Aquarius Gemini, the talk never ends. Put two air signs in the same room and you're not just getting a conversation, you're getting an experience. When Aquarius and Gemini strike up a friendship, it's like watching two supercomputers sync wirelessly in real time, exchanging ideas, jokes, theories, and dreams at warp speed. These two don't just talk, they riff. They improvise. They build entire universes in the span of a single coffee date and leave the cafe wondering how 5 hours disappeared and whether time is even real. Aquarius brings the big picture mindset, the thinker, the futurist, the one who's always looking 10 years down the road with radical ideas and unapologetic individuality. Gemini, meanwhile, is the communicator, curious, clever, quick-witted, and never content to sit in silence. Together, they form a mental loop that never ends. Aquarius throws out a concept like, what if emotions are just neurological patterns, and Gemini runs with it. Oh my God, and what if we designed an app that mapped that in real time? These two don't just relate to each other, they activate each other. Their compatibility is off the charts because they understand each other's most bizarre mental landscapes. There's no need to dumb it down, no fear of being misunderstood. Aquarius thrives on intellectual stimulation and forward-thinking ideas. Gemini thrives on communication and discovery. So when they link up, it's an infinite loop of fascination and validation. And because both signs are naturally independent, there's no pressure to cling or control. Neither one needs constant attention or hand-holding. They give each other space, not because they don't care, but because they understand the need for freedom, both mental and emotional. They're the type of friends who might not talk for 2 weeks, then randomly text each other a conspiracy theory or an obscure meme at 2 a.m. and pick up the conversation like no time passed at all. But what really sets this friendship apart is the emotional safety it offers, something often overlooked with air signs. There's an unspoken agreement here: no judgment, no drama, just curiosity. Gemini can unpack their duality without fear, their contradictions, their chaos, their constant stream of thoughts. Aquarius listens not to fix, but to understand. Likewise, Aquarius can express their unconventional ideas, their emotional distance, their need for space, and Gemini doesn't take it personally. In fact, Gemini loves the weirdness. That emotional freedom creates a space where both feel truly seen. It's rare, it's beautiful, and it's deeply underrated. They are the ultimate brainstormers. Give them a whiteboard and a mission, and they'll sketch out an entire nonprofit, a political campaign, and a startup within one afternoon. They are dreamers and idea machines. The only problem? Execution. Both signs are more comfortable in the realm of thought than in the world of action. They're incredible at vision, not always at follow-through. This can lead to frustration if they fall into the cycle of planning everything, finishing nothing. Grand ideas about making a documentary on subcultures in Eastern Europe may sound fantastic over matcha lattes, but when it comes time to book flights or edit footage, both might drift off to a new concept entirely. It's not laziness, it's just the speed at which their minds operate. By the time the world catches up to one idea, they're already on to the next. But in friendship, the lack of follow-through doesn't hurt them as much as it would other signs. Why? Because they don't expect consistency from each other in the traditional sense. What they count on is inspiration, insight, and intellectual electricity. That's their currency, and they're rich in it. Socially, they're a hit. These are the two at the party who gravitate toward the weirdest corner of the room and end up talking to the DJ about sound frequencies and ancient languages. They're not trying to impress anyone, they just can't help being fascinating. They're often surrounded by people but rarely overwhelmed, because they always make space for each other to recharge in their own way. Whether it's a group hangout or a random Wednesday night rabbit hole on the internet, they just click. They also balance each other well in terms of emotional highs and lows. Gemini can get anxious and scattered, while Aquarius tends to detach when things get too intense. But instead of triggering each other, they often create a gentle rhythm of checks and balances. Aquarius grounds Gemini in big picture thinking, reminding them that every little problem doesn't need to be a crisis. Gemini brings Aquarius back from the clouds, reminding them to feel and engage instead of disappearing into thought alone. There's also a lot of laughter in this friendship. Sharp wit, inside jokes, obscure references, shared playlists, fake business plans, weirdly specific nicknames. The humor never stops. Their conversations feel like secret languages that others only partly understand. It's not exclusionary, it's just that their minds move so fast, most people can't keep up. But between them, it's a dance. Over time, this friendship becomes a kind of sanctuary, a shared reality that exists outside of traditional expectations. Neither Aquarius nor Gemini is likely to expect rigid loyalty in the traditional sense. Instead, they count on one another to be there, not always physically, but intellectually and emotionally. They're the kind of friends who might not attend every birthday but will send you a 3,000-word email about why Saturn's return is messing with your mood. And honestly, it hits harder. What makes this pairing so special is that they grow together. Constantly. Individually, they're already evolving forces. But together, they speed that up. Aquarius encourages Gemini to think in terms of impact, to focus their chaos into change. Gemini reminds Aquarius that ideas need to connect emotionally to truly resonate. They challenge each other, sharpen each other, and never let the other get stale. In the rare cases where this friendship falters, it's usually because one outgrows the other, or, more accurately, grows in a direction the other isn't ready to follow. But even then, there's usually no animosity. Just a quiet appreciation for what they shared and a likely reconnection down the road when the stars align again. Ultimately, this is the kind of friendship people write movies about, the kind with spontaneous travel, endless debates, stupid mistakes, cosmic jokes, and heart-expanding conversations that make you question reality. If you've got this duo in your life, hold on to them. Not tightly, of course, they both hate that. But with respect, awe, and a shared Spotify playlist that never ends. Verdict: 10 out of 10 compatibility, your forever weird bestie duo. Aquarius Cancer, water meets wind. This friendship is one of the Zodiac's most unlikely, and yet, when it works, it's also one of the most profound. At their core, Aquarius and Cancer operate from entirely different emotional engines. Aquarius is the sign of the visionary, detached, analytical, future-focused, and often seen as emotionally distant. Cancer is the nurturer, emotionally intuitive, past-oriented, and driven by connection, care, and sentiment. When they first meet, it's like watching someone try to connect using Morse code while the other is speaking in metaphors, interesting but confusing. And yet, there's something undeniably compelling about their dynamic. Aquarius, an air sign, moves like wind, free, unpredictable, mentally charged. Cancer, a water sign, flows deep and slow, full of emotion, instinct, and protection. One is ruled by Uranus, the planet of sudden change and rebellion. The other by the moon, the celestial body of moods, memory, and emotional rhythm. Naturally, their instincts can clash, but if they commit to understanding rather than converting one another, magic unfolds. From the beginning, Aquarius might see Cancer as overly sensitive or even emotionally manipulative. Cancer leads with feeling, not logic. They remember birthdays, anniversaries, the exact words you said 3 years ago when you were sad, because to Cancer, emotion is everything. Aquarius, on the other hand, may appear cold or overly rational to Cancer. They approach relationships with a kind of cerebral detachment, often analyzing before engaging and needing space, lots of it, to feel safe. This dynamic can lead to early misunderstandings. Cancer might interpret Aquarius's emotional independence as rejection. Aquarius might feel burdened by Cancer's need for connection. The air sign wants to fly, the water sign wants to anchor. Aquarius may look at friendship like an abstract concept, something flexible, evolving, a shared respect of minds. Cancer sees it as family, personal, intimate, and emotionally binding. But if they can move past that first friction, if they can listen deeply, not just to words, but to intent, they'll begin to unlock each other's gifts. Cancer has an almost magical ability to help Aquarius connect with their emotional world. Without forcing, without demanding, Cancer can gently invite Aquarius to sit with vulnerability, to actually feel rather than just understand. Through shared experiences, quiet loyalty, and consistent presence, Cancer builds a foundation where Aquarius starts to feel safe expressing emotion, even if it's clunky at first. In turn, Aquarius offers Cancer something they don't often find: perspective. Cancer can sometimes get caught in emotional loops, revisiting the past, reanalyzing wounds, and drowning in nostalgia. Aquarius cuts through that with clarity, offering new angles, bigger picture thinking, and a fresh breeze when Cancer's inner tides become overwhelming. Aquarius teaches Cancer that not every emotional storm needs to be weathered, some can be released. Together, they stretch each other. Cancer brings soul, Aquarius brings scope. Cancer teaches intimacy, Aquarius teaches expansion. It's not always comfortable, in fact, it rarely is, but it's deeply transformative for both. That said, emotional misfires are frequent early on. Aquarius might crack a joke when Cancer's opening up. Cancer might retreat into silence when Aquarius just wants to discuss ideas. It's a dance of different tempos, one intuitive, the other cerebral. For this friendship to thrive, they both need to learn each other's languages. Aquarius must learn the value of emotional presence. Cancer must accept that not all detachment is disinterest. Their shared strength lies in loyalty. Cancer is a devoted friend. Once you're in, you're in. Aquarius is surprisingly loyal as well, but it takes them longer to reach that depth. They don't bond with just anyone. So when they do form that connection, it's meaningful. Over time, the friendship becomes like a deep, quiet lake with a vast sky above, calm, reflective, and endlessly rich. They may not be each other's go-to for spontaneous fun or constant hangouts. Aquarius will still need space to roam, disappear, and resurface. Cancer might have other friends they lean on more regularly for emotional support. But when these two reconnect, whether it's after a week or a year, there's an unspoken continuity. They just get each other, even if they've had to work hard to get there. Their conversations are layered. Cancer brings in emotional nuance. Aquarius brings in social philosophy, science, and theory. They could spend hours talking about the emotional psychology of a film character, or debating whether empathy can exist without personal experience. Cancer adds heart to the head. Aquarius adds structure to the soul. Even their differences can become points of fascination. Cancer might be mesmerized by Aquarius's unpredictable mind, their strange fashion choices, or their bold life experiments. Aquarius might quietly admire Cancer's depth of care, their ability to intuit unspoken pain, their loyalty without expectation. But the key to this friendship surviving long-term? Patience. Aquarius must learn to slow down and be with Cancer. No advice, no solutions, just presence. Cancer must let Aquarius breathe, not take their distance personally, and understand that for Aquarius, freedom is an act of trust, not avoidance. When both realize they don't have to become like each other, but can expand through one another, that's when the bond deepens. They also benefit from shared causes. Working together on something bigger than themselves, a community project, a social movement, a creative endeavor, gives their friendship structure and purpose. Aquarius loves systems change, Cancer loves protecting people. Together, they're a force. Still, not every Aquarius-Cancer friendship will last. If either party becomes stubborn, or if expectations go unspoken, things can break down. Aquarius might pull away without explanation. Cancer might close off emotionally, feeling wounded and misunderstood. Without clear communication and emotional honesty, the friendship can quietly dissolve, not with a bang, but with a drift. But for those who stick with it, it becomes something truly rare. A friendship that teaches both what they never knew they needed. For Aquarius, emotional depth, loyalty, presence. For Cancer, perspective, growth, freedom. It's not flashy, it's not fast, but it's real. Verdict: 6/10 compatibility, fragile, but deeply rewarding if nurtured. Aquarius-Leo, the spotlight duo. This friendship is a cosmic power play. When Aquarius and Leo walk into a room, everyone notices, not just because they're loud though they can be, but because they radiate something unmistakably bold. They're different, yes, and in many ways polar opposites, but they both command attention in their own unique styles. Leo shines like the sun, warm and radiant, craving admiration and applause. Aquarius moves like a lightning bolt, unpredictable and electric, craving innovation and the freedom to shock. Together, they don't just enter a room, they change its frequency. At first glance, their connection can feel like destiny. Both signs are fixed, meaning they're determined, unyielding, and passionate when it comes to their beliefs. Both are idealistic in their own way. Leo is ruled by the sun and thrives on personal expression, creativity, and loyalty. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus and Saturn, pulling toward rebellion, progress, and detachment from convention. Leo leads from the heart. Aquarius leads from the mind. It's a dance of fire and air, combustible, exhilarating, and sometimes exhausting. From day one, they're drawn to each other's energy. Aquarius is fascinated by Leo's charisma, confidence, and unapologetic authenticity. Leo is intrigued by Aquarius's originality, intellect, and fearless nonconformity. Aquarius doesn't just accept Leo's big personality, they admire it. And Leo doesn't just tolerate Aquarius's eccentricity, they're genuinely entertained by it. This mutual fascination can be the foundation of a truly dynamic friendship, one built on admiration, creativity, and a shared refusal to be ordinary. But the tension? Oh, it's there. Leo, being a fire sign, often seeks affirmation. They want their efforts noticed, their loyalty returned, and their friendship reciprocated with warmth and presence. They're the friend who shows up with a handmade birthday gift and expects you to say, "This is the most meaningful thing anyone has ever given me." Aquarius, meanwhile, shows love by disappearing for a month and then texting you a random article about how jellyfish could revolutionize solar power. In other words, not exactly the emotional feedback Leo thrives on. This emotional mismatch can create friction. Leo may view Aquarius as distant, unemotional, or even careless. Aquarius might see Leo as dramatic, needy, or too caught up in superficial validation. Leo wants connection, Aquarius wants autonomy. Leo needs to be seen. Aquarius wants to be understood. That's a delicate tightrope, and without strong communication, it's easy to fall off. However, where this friendship thrives is in its shared passion. Both Leo and Aquarius want to make an impact. Leo wants to inspire. Aquarius wants to disrupt. Put them together in a creative environment, whether it's launching a brand, writing a play, or starting a nonprofit, and they're unstoppable. Leo brings the emotional depth, stage presence, and storytelling flair. Aquarius brings the radical ideas, innovation, and future-thinking strategies. Together, they create something bigger than themselves. In social settings, they dominate, but not in the same way. Leo is the center of attention, naturally magnetic, effortlessly charming. Aquarius is the iconoclast, drawing people in with unpredictability and intellect. They can either become an unshakable tag team, dazzling and magnetic, or start subtly competing for the spotlight. When they're in sync, it's glorious. When they're out of sync, it's a silent cold war of ego and eye rolls. What keeps them balanced is mutual respect. Aquarius doesn't usually bow to anyone, but they respect Leo's courage and loyalty. Leo, while wanting to be adored, often secretly admires Aquarius's refusal to perform for applause. They may not always get each other emotionally, but they recognize each other as leaders, and that creates a powerful alliance. That said, compromise is essential. Leo must understand that Aquarius's emotional detachment isn't personal, it's how they process the world. They're not trying to hurt Leo's feelings, they're just wired for intellectual distance. Aquarius, meanwhile, must realize that Leo's need for appreciation isn't vanity, it's a genuine desire for emotional connection and validation. Aquarius can learn a lot from Leo about the power of presence, while Leo can learn from Aquarius how to let go of ego and trust the bigger picture. This friendship is also a masterclass in boundary navigation. Aquarius values freedom above almost everything. They need to come and go as they please, to have room for their many identities and weird rabbit holes of interest. Leo might struggle with that. They show their love by showing up, and expect the same. Learning how to honor each other's styles without judgment is what takes this friendship from unstable to unshakable. Over time, if nurtured, this friendship matures into a bond where both signs feel genuinely expanded. Aquarius finds that Leo's warmth can be a grounding force, a reminder that emotion isn't weakness but fuel. Leo discovers that Aquarius's detachment can be a form of trust, that space doesn't mean disinterest, and silence isn't always rejection. They push each other to evolve, but not to change. That distinction is everything. If conflict arises, and it will, it usually centers around loyalty and recognition. Leo may feel undervalued if Aquarius forgets important dates, shrugs off heartfelt moments, or disappears without checking in. Aquarius may feel suffocated if Leo demands too much attention, too much affirmation, or tries to control how the friendship looks. The key is to give what's needed without losing yourself. Easier said than done, but totally possible when the respect is mutual. And let's not forget, these two are fun. When they vibe, they're hilarious, inventive, and creatively unstoppable. They'll dress up for themed parties, prank each other with weird gifts, co-write ridiculous screenplays just for fun, and challenge each other to live bigger, bolder lives. It's a friendship full of surprises, storytelling, and moments where time disappears because the energy is that good. But it won't be simple. Aquarius and Leo are both strong-willed, stubborn, and wildly different in how they connect. This friendship requires emotional maturity, clear boundaries, and ongoing effort to understand each other's deepest values. When it works, it's electric. When it doesn't, it can feel like two stars on collision courses, blinding, then distant. Still, if both are willing to honor the other's truth without trying to rewrite it, they create a kind of friendship that shifts paradigms. The rebel and the ruler. The storm and the spotlight. The revolutionary and the radiant. Verdict: 7/10 compatibility, dynamic, creative, and ego-challenging. Aquarius Virgo, logic meets logic. Kind of. This friendship is one of the Zodiac's most fascinating studies in contrast. Both Aquarius and Virgo are intellectuals at heart, thinkers, analyzers, solvers, but the way they approach logic, life, and friendship couldn't be more different. Aquarius is the innovator, the dreamer with their head floating in some conceptual cloud of what's next. Virgo is the analyst, the meticulous builder who's got both feet firmly planted on the ground and a spreadsheet ready. When these two connect, it's not fireworks. It's a lab experiment, and whether it works depends on the patience of the participants. Virgo is ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication, which gives them a sharp mind and an eye for details that others miss. They're practical, methodical, and efficient. They find security in knowing how things work, in order, in plans. They often express care through acts of service, remembering your coffee order, fixing something broken, making your chaos manageable. Aquarius, ruled by Uranus and Saturn, brings radical thought, rebellion, and systems disruption to the table. They thrive in the world of possibility, speculation, and unconventional solutions. Their form of logic is anything but linear, and that can drive Virgo absolutely insane. On the surface, this might seem like a great pairing. Two smart, focused people who think a lot and care deeply, even if they don't always show it. But dig a little deeper, and you'll see that they often struggle to align. Virgo prefers the known. Aquarius prefers the unknown. Virgo finds comfort in repetition and proof. Aquarius thrives on change and hypothesis. Virgo wants to know what time dinner is. Aquarius is wondering why we eat dinner at all. That said, what binds them is respect. Even if they don't understand each other emotionally, they recognize and admire each other's intelligence. Aquarius sees Virgo's ability to organize chaos, fix problems, and execute flawlessly. Virgo admires Aquarius's visionary thinking, innovation, and refusal to follow the crowd. They may not always agree on how to get somewhere, but they can agree on the destination, especially if that destination involves helping others, challenging injustice, or building something meaningful. If this friendship forms in a shared workspace or a mutual project, it can truly shine. Aquarius dreams up the revolutionary idea. Virgo turns it into a working system. Aquarius questions outdated systems. Virgo shows exactly how to replace them. It's a true yin-yang scenario. Virgo offers structure where Aquarius offers spark. Aquarius introduces experimentation where Virgo introduces process. It can be magical if they stay focused on a shared mission and don't get bogged down by personality differences. The main challenge? Communication style. Aquarius speaks in big concepts, abstract thoughts, and future scenarios. Virgo prefers clarity, specifics, and logic rooted in present realities. Virgo may ask a question expecting a simple answer and get a 10-minute Aquarius monologue about social evolution. Aquarius may make a sweeping philosophical statement and get fact-checked by Virgo before they've even finished their thought. Neither is trying to offend, they just speak different dialects of intelligence. Emotionally, they're a bit like two awkward coworkers who respect each other deeply but never quite manage to hang out after hours. Virgo, while more emotionally in tune than people give them credit for, is guarded. They protect their vulnerability by being helpful and competent. Aquarius, while caring in their own way, can come off cold or aloof. They often keep friendships at arm's length, unless someone proves they won't try to control or restrict them. This means their bond may remain more functional than heartfelt, especially in the early stages. However, over time, something warm can develop, but it's not your typical heart-to-heart closeness. It's more about trust. Aquarius realizes Virgo won't try to control them. Virgo realizes Aquarius isn't flaky, just wired differently. When that trust forms, a kind of unspoken loyalty takes root. They may not text constantly or gush about each other, but they'll show up. Virgo with a practical solution, Aquarius with a big-picture strategy that just might change everything. Conflict in this friendship usually comes from judgment. Virgo can be critical, not because they're mean, but because they care deeply about doing things right. Aquarius can bristle under criticism, especially if they feel their creativity or autonomy is being boxed in. Conversely, Aquarius might challenge Virgo's traditions or rules, leading Virgo to feel unappreciated or dismissed. Both need to learn to soften their edges. Virgo can learn to loosen their grip on control. Aquarius can learn to accept feedback without seeing it as a threat to their independence. Socially, they function differently too. Virgo is often more introverted, preferring small, meaningful gatherings and productive conversations. Aquarius thrives in chaos, group dynamics, quirky crowds, weird vibes. When Aquarius invites Virgo to an underground techno-philosophy art show, Virgo may look confused and exhausted before they even leave the house. And when Virgo asks Aquarius to help organize a charity bake sale with military precision, Aquarius may zone out halfway through the spreadsheet. But when they do make time for each other, on their own terms, the results can be surprising. They often learn more from each other than either expects. Virgo might begin to question their own limits, experiment with ideas that once felt risky, and loosen their expectations of perfection. Aquarius might realize that there's value in follow-through, in planning, in actually showing up, not just ideating. In each other's presence, they start to see the blind spots in their own thinking, and instead of clashing, they can evolve. Still, this friendship isn't always emotionally warm. It's more cerebral than cuddly, more practical than poetic. It may lack the cozy depth of some other pairings, and unless both parties work on emotional fluency, it can remain in that semi-distant, hyper-functional territory for years. That's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just this thing. It works, but in a way that's more head than heart. When it works best, this friendship becomes a quiet powerhouse, two minds, vastly different but mutually respectful, creating something impactful. They won't always hug it out, but they'll make things happen. Virgo brings precision, Aquarius brings revolution. Virgo grounds Aquarius's madness, Aquarius breaks Virgo's mold. Together, they expand each other's potential, not through emotion, but through evolution. Verdict: 5/10 compatibility, functional, but may lack emotional warmth. Aquarius Libra, brainy BFFs. When Aquarius and Libra become friends, it doesn't just feel right, it makes sense. These two are air signs, meaning they share a natural affinity for conversation, intellect, and the kind of friendship that doesn't need constant emotional maintenance to feel solid. But this isn't just a bond of convenience or shared zodiac elements. It's a meeting of two beautiful minds, one driven by progress, the other by balance, that somehow create an effortless harmony between chaos and calm. Aquarius is the wild card, the forward thinker, the rebel in stylish sneakers who shows up with conspiracy theories and a handmade protest sign. Libra is the diplomat, the aesthetic curator, the graceful mind who charms the room and then gently redirects the conversation toward fairness and understanding. Together, they're the kind of friends who host an art show that doubles as a political fundraiser, all while wearing matching vintage blazers and arguing about ethical AI in the group chat. The spark here is instant. From the first conversation, there's a rhythm, a back and forth that feels both natural and invigorating. Aquarius loves a good debate, especially when it involves world-changing ideas, and Libra is more than happy to engage, adding nuance, elegance, and just the right amount of devil's advocate to keep things interesting. Their minds dance, and even when they disagree, it never gets ugly, because they're both far more interested in understanding than dominating. One of the most beautiful aspects of this friendship is how well they balance each other out. Aquarius can sometimes be intense, unpredictable, or emotionally unavailable, not because they don't care, but because they process life in mental, often detached ways. Libra, with their charm and sensitivity, brings a soothing energy into Aquarius's orbit. They remind Aquarius that diplomacy matters, that tone counts, and that sometimes it's okay to slow down and feel the moment instead of analyzing it to death. On the flip side, Libra can sometimes struggle with indecision, people-pleasing, or being too focused on harmony at the expense of truth. That's where Aquarius steps in like a cool blast of fresh air, encouraging Libra to speak their mind, challenge the status quo, and stop apologizing for simply having an opinion. Aquarius admires Libra's grace but urges them not to lose themselves in the pursuit of keeping everyone else comfortable. In return, Libra teaches Aquarius that empathy and impact don't have to be at odds. Socially, they're a dynamic duo. These two have taste. Whether it's music, art, fashion, or social causes, they have an eye and ear for what's fresh, smart, and meaningful. You'll find them at indie film screenings, sustainability panels, queer book clubs, or rooftop dinners debating the ethics of time travel. Aquarius brings the edge. Libra brings the elegance. It's cool meets cool, but without the performance. They're just being themselves, and it works. What really makes this friendship shine is how both signs approach the world from an idealistic perspective. Aquarius wants to change the world, often radically. Libra wants to fix it, beautifully and equitably. Together, they can dream and design a better world, one conversation, one collaboration, one cause at a time. They may not always agree on the method, but the mission is always shared. Of course, no friendship is without its challenges. Aquarius can be emotionally elusive, sometimes forgetting that not everyone thrives on distance and detachment. Libra, though patient, may occasionally feel undervalued if Aquarius gets too caught up in their own ideas and forgets to check in or reciprocate emotionally. And if Libra is going through a period of indecision or self-doubt, Aquarius might get impatient. They want action, movement, progress, not overthinking. But because both signs are fundamentally non-confrontational, and because they respect each other so deeply, conflicts rarely erupt into drama. If anything, they lead to even deeper conversations about boundaries, values, or what friendship really means. Both signs are committed to growth and evolution, and they approach tension not with anger, but with curiosity. Emotionally, this friendship isn't overly gushy or dependent, and that's exactly how they like it. They give each other space to be independent, to explore, to disappear for a few days without it becoming a crisis. Yet the moment they reconnect, it's as if no time has passed. There's trust here, there's flow, there's freedom. Long-term, this duo evolves together. They cheer each other on through every reinvention, every new idea, every strange obsession. Libra may go through phases of romantic entanglements or artistic rediscovery. Aquarius may bounce between causes, tech experiments, or entire career shifts. But through it all, they remain anchored by one thing: mutual admiration. Even their friendship rituals are special. They might have shared playlists, collaborative Pinterest boards, co-written essays, or ongoing debates that stretch across years. They might travel together, work together, or simply meet once a month for long walks full of laughter and world-saving plans. This is a friendship that feels like a living organism, always growing, always expanding, always evolving. At its best, it's easy. Not because they don't have differences, but because those differences don't feel like obstacles, they feel like invitations to grow. Aquarius helps Libra be bold. Libra helps Aquarius be kind. And together, they make each other better thinkers, better creatives, better people. In a world that often feels divided or shallow, this friendship is a quiet revolution, intelligent, inclusive, stylish, and full of purpose. It's not about selfies or surface-level bonding. It's about shared vision, mutual growth, and the kind of connection that makes life feel bigger, smarter, and more beautiful. Verdict: 9/10 compatibility, beautiful minds with matching playlists. Aquarius Scorpio, depth versus distance. This friendship is not for the faint of heart. When Aquarius and Scorpio cross paths, it's like two entirely different elements quietly sizing each other up. One composed of electric current and outer space intellect, the other made of emotional magma and inner world intensity. Aquarius is the sky, vast, cool, and filled with potential. Scorpio is the ocean trench, deep, secretive, and emotionally charged. And when wind meets water this deep, you don't get splashes, you get storms, or miracles. Let's start with the obvious difference. Scorpio is emotionally intense, deeply loyal, and craves honesty on a soul level. Their friendships are sacred, private, and often forged through shared vulnerability or silent trust. Aquarius, meanwhile, is independent, unpredictable, and far more emotionally distant. They intellectualize what Scorpio feels. They detach when Scorpio dives deeper. And yet, they are irresistibly intrigued by each other. The dynamic is a paradox: cold and hot, push and pull, magnetic and maddening. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto and Mars, the planets of transformation, power, and passion. They feel everything. Even in friendships, they're all in or all out. They don't do halfway, and they rarely open up without good reason. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus and Saturn, revolution and structure. They love ideas more than emotion, freedom more than fusion. While Scorpio seeks depth through connection, Aquarius seeks meaning through detachment. It shouldn't work, and yet, somehow, it often does. Why? Because beneath their wildly different emotional styles, they share key values: independence, loyalty, intensity, and authenticity. Neither of them tolerates superficiality. Neither plays games. And both are deeply committed, just in completely different ways. When Scorpio realizes that Aquarius's emotional distance isn't coldness but simply how they process the world, they may shift from suspicion to fascination. Likewise, Aquarius starts to appreciate that Scorpio's intensity isn't possessive by default. It's rooted in an unmatched depth of care. What binds them is mystery. Both are hard to read, and both like it that way. Aquarius doesn't hand out trust freely, and neither does Scorpio. They may orbit one another for a while before deciding to open up. But once they do, the connection is often surprisingly deep and enduring. They don't just talk, they probe. They examine. They challenge each other to dig deeper. Aquarius through ideas, Scorpio through feelings. And the contrast sharpens them both. Still, this friendship isn't easy. Trust is everything, and it's also the biggest obstacle. Scorpio needs transparency, honesty, and a clear emotional landscape. Aquarius prefers ambiguity, openness, and room to move. If Scorpio senses that Aquarius is being evasive, distant, or emotionally unavailable, their alarm bells go off. They may retreat, lash out, or start testing boundaries. If Aquarius feels Scorpio getting too intense, too demanding, or too possessive, they'll pull away, fast. The friendship can quickly collapse if both aren't self-aware. Scorpio's tendency to dig deep can feel invasive to Aquarius, who needs space like air. And Aquarius's cool detachment can feel like betrayal to Scorpio, who reads between all the lines. They don't just notice what you said, they notice what you didn't say. Misunderstandings can snowball, especially if Scorpio becomes suspicious and Aquarius becomes defensive. It's a classic cycle. One dives in, the other drifts away. But when these two meet in the middle, something rare and powerful happens. Scorpio teaches Aquarius the value of emotional presence, of staying, not fleeing, when things get real. Aquarius teaches Scorpio that obsession isn't the same as connection, and that sometimes love or friendship thrives in space, not saturation. Together, they balance detachment with depth, intensity with objectivity, loyalty with liberation. They're also surprisingly well matched in terms of loyalty. Once Aquarius considers someone a true friend, they're in for life, though it might not always look that way. Scorpio, meanwhile, is fiercely loyal. Once trust is earned, it's unshakable. They both value substance over surface, and both are incredibly private. This makes them ideal confidants for one another. Secrets are safe here. There's a shared understanding that loyalty doesn't require constant validation, it just is. Socially, they're often outsiders, and they like it that way. Aquarius doesn't chase popularity, they chase originality. Scorpio avoids shallow social circles and prefers depth over numbers. Together, they often build their own strange little universe, filled with in-jokes, niche obsessions, secret projects, and a joint disdain for the ordinary. Aquarius pushes Scorpio to be less guarded. Scorpio pushes Aquarius to be more grounded. They won't be found doing small talk over brunch. They'll be up at 2 a.m. dissecting the ethics of biohacking or the psychological symbolism of their favorite cult film. Conflict, when it comes, is volcanic, but not always explosive. Scorpio holds grudges. Aquarius detaches. Scorpio wants to address the emotion. Aquarius wants to rationalize it. This is where things can get dicey. Scorpio's resentment festers if they feel dismissed, and Aquarius's interest fizzles if Scorpio becomes emotionally demanding. If they want to preserve the friendship, both need to learn to communicate on each other's terms, not just their own. That means Aquarius must sometimes show up emotionally, even if it's uncomfortable. Say what they feel, not just what they think. And Scorpio must learn to allow space, even in intimacy. Let Aquarius breathe without assuming abandonment. It's a delicate dance, but the rhythm is there if both are willing to practice. Over time, this friendship becomes something that neither of them can quite explain to others, and they like it that way. It's private, powerful, and unlike any other connection they have. Scorpio finds a mind that challenges them and refuses to be dominated. Aquarius finds a soul that sees beneath their intellectual armor and still chooses to stay. They may frustrate each other. They may confuse each other. But they also expand each other. Aquarius helps Scorpio see beyond emotion into possibility. Scorpio helps Aquarius anchor into emotional reality, into meaning. Together, they stretch each other's worlds, and in that stretch, they grow. This friendship isn't for everyone. But for these two, it might be everything. Verdict: 7/10 compatibility, shadowy, strong, and strangely magnetic. Aquarius Sagittarius, the wild philosophers. If friendship had a soundtrack, Aquarius and Sagittarius would be blasting it from a solar-powered speaker strapped to a motorcycle in the middle of the desert. This isn't just a friendship. It's a living, breathing manifesto for freedom, chaos, and cosmic-level curiosity. These two are not bound by tradition, expectations, or even geography. They are the wild ones, the thinkers, the question askers, and the rule breakers. And when they find each other, it's like a lightning bolt meeting a wildfire. Electrifying, unstoppable, totally unpredictable. From the first moment they connect, it's clear they speak the same language, one made up of open-ended questions, grand theories, and half-formed plans that somehow lead to unforgettable adventures. Aquarius brings the radical ideas, the innovation, the love for future-forward thinking. Sagittarius brings the fire, the passion, the relentless thirst for meaning through experience. Together, they don't just think outside the box, they light the box on fire and dance around it while debating whether reality even exists. Both signs value freedom above all else. Independence isn't just a preference, it's a necessity. They instinctively understand that space doesn't mean distance, and detachment doesn't mean disinterest. This creates one of the rarest kinds of friendships, one where neither person feels pressured to show up in a traditional way. They can disappear for weeks, travel across time zones, pursue 10 new obsessions, and when they reconnect, it's as if no time has passed. The energy is still there, unfiltered and fully alive. Their friendship is built on possibility. Conversations can range from, "Should we move to Tokyo?" to, "Do you think octopuses are aliens?" in a matter of minutes. They're mentally agile, constantly swapping theories, challenging each other's worldviews, and co-creating a vision of the world that's part utopia, part fever dream. No topic is too weird. No idea is too far. They're not afraid of being misunderstood. In fact, they thrive on being just a little bit incomprehensible to everyone else. This is not a soft, cozy friendship. It's an adrenaline rush of connection. Aquarius keeps things intellectually charged, while Sagittarius keeps the vibe loose, spontaneous, and alive. They may not check in daily, but they'll send each other a 3 a.m. voice note from the top of a volcano or an article about psychedelic therapy with the caption, "This feels like us." It's not about frequency, it's about frequency. They vibe on a wavelength that's rare, high frequency, and nonlinear. When it comes to shared adventures, these two are a recipe for, why not? Skydiving trips, impromptu art shows, road trips with no maps, or starting a podcast based on books they haven't finished reading. Sagittarius is the fire that says, "Let's go now," and Aquarius is the wind that says, "And let's go somewhere new." They're equally restless, equally rebellious, and equally uninterested in anything that smells like routine. But this friendship isn't just about chaos, it's about shared philosophy. Both Aquarius and Sagittarius are driven by ideas. They care deeply about truth, purpose, justice, and collective evolution. You'll often find them organizing community projects, arguing about politics, or researching ancient civilizations just for fun. While Sagittarius leans toward wisdom through lived experience, Aquarius wants to reinvent the systems that define human experience. Together, they expand each other's thinking, turning thought into movement and vision into action. And here's the kicker: there's almost zero judgment in this dynamic. Sagittarius doesn't care if Aquarius disappears for a month to build a robot in their garage. Aquarius doesn't care if Sagittarius changes life goals every 2 weeks. They support each other's wildest transformations without needing explanations. There's a deep respect for each other's process, even if it doesn't always make sense on paper. That mutual non-judgment creates a safe space for experimentation, failure, reinvention, and even vulnerability, though they'd both rather cloak that in jokes or philosophical metaphors. However, no friendship is perfect, even one this electric. Their biggest challenge? Follow through. They're great at starting things, projects, plans, ideas, but not always at finishing them. Aquarius can get caught up in endless revisions or lose interest once something becomes too mainstream. Sagittarius, driven by excitement, might move on to the next shiny idea before the first one is done. This can lead to lots of partially finished dreams, from startups that never launched to travel plans that stayed in the group chat. Also, emotions aren't the first language for either of them. Aquarius intellectualizes everything, even their feelings. Sagittarius avoids heaviness, preferring to laugh off what hurts. So when one of them does hit a low point, they might not immediately know how to hold space for it. But here's where the strength of their bond kicks in. Even when they fumble emotional support, their loyalty never wavers. They may offer help in the form of a weird book recommendation or a long rant about cosmic rebirth, but underneath the unconventional delivery is deep care. What makes this friendship sustainable is its flexibility. There are no rigid expectations, no guilt trips, no passive-aggressive check-ins. It's fluid, alive, and mutually empowering. They challenge each other to grow, not through pressure, but through exposure to new ways of thinking and being. Aquarius shows Sagittarius how to focus energy toward a larger mission. Sagittarius reminds Aquarius that joy, fun, and spontaneity are part of the mission. Over time, this friendship becomes a kind of chosen philosophical partnership, not just a bond between two people, but between two ways of seeing the world. They might end up building something together, like a podcast, nonprofit, or wild art collective. Or they might just be the person who always sends the perfect meme, the most chaotic link, or the right question at the right time. Either way, it works. Their connection is rooted in possibility, in who they are, and who they're constantly becoming. Aquarius and Sagittarius don't just accept each other's evolution, they expect it. They meet each other again and again, every time one of them transforms. It's not just a friendship, it's a revolution disguised as a really great time. Verdict: 10 out of 10 compatibility, wanderlust, wisdom, and way too many inside jokes. Aquarius Capricorn, the visionary and the architect. This is the kind of friendship that doesn't burst into existence overnight with glitter and grand declarations. No, this one unfolds like a complex novel, slowly, deliberately, with chapters of miscommunication, mutual skepticism, and eventual awe. Aquarius and Capricorn couldn't be more different on the surface. One is a boundary-pushing idealist, the other a rule-bound realist. But beneath the contrast is a deep potential to create something enduring, something that blends sky-high dreams with rock-solid execution. When Aquarius the visionary meets Capricorn the architect, the result isn't chaos. It's a blueprint for lasting brilliance, if they're willing to work for it. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, the planet of discipline, time, and structure. Capricorn is the friend who sets alarms for everything, budgets down to the penny, and actually reads the terms and conditions. Their friendships tend to be few but serious, rooted in loyalty, consistency, and mutual effort. Aquarius, ruled by both Saturn and Uranus, is the wild card, a rebel intellectual with a passion for the unconventional, a deep love of humanity, and a talent for disappearing when things feel too structured. They're not exactly the check-in every Sunday friend. They're more likely to message you out of the blue with a link to a quantum computing article and an invitation to build a new world order. Needless to say, when these two meet, there's a spark, but it's often a confusing one. Aquarius may look at Capricorn and wonder, why so serious? Capricorn might see Aquarius and think, do they even live in the same reality as the rest of us? It's a battle of order versus chaos, structure versus spontaneity, pragmatism versus possibility. And yet, neither turns away. Because deep down, each recognizes something rare in the other, the ability to do something real. Aquarius brings the bold ideas, the ones that don't just think outside the box, but ask why the box exists at all. They challenge norms, question traditions, and offer vision so big it can feel like science fiction. Capricorn, on the other hand, knows how to make things happen. They don't get lost in theory. They work the details, solve the logistics, and build the infrastructure that Aquarius often overlooks. If Aquarius says, let's change the way people live, Capricorn replies, cool. Let's draft the proposal, secure the funding, and create a timeline. When they collaborate, they're a powerhouse. Not flashy, not fast, but formidable. These are the friends who could start a nonprofit, build a tech startup, launch a political campaign, or write a book that actually changes minds. Aquarius has the vision, Capricorn makes it viable. Aquarius brings the momentum, Capricorn creates the method. But it's not always smooth. They'll argue, often. Aquarius will accuse Capricorn of being too rigid, too slow, too risk-averse. Capricorn will roll their eyes at Aquarius's tendency to idealize, to disrupt without a plan, to chase 100 ideas and finish none. Yet beneath the friction lies mutual respect. Capricorn may not always understand Aquarius, but they admire their courage and originality. Aquarius may not love Capricorn's rules, but they're secretly impressed by their consistency and strength. It's this admiration, often grudging at first, that forms the bedrock of their friendship. Once it's built, it's incredibly hard to shake. Emotionally, things can get tricky. Capricorn is cautious with vulnerability. They open up slowly, and only when they feel safe and understood. Aquarius, meanwhile, tends to keep emotions at arm's length, processing them through logic and observation rather than expression. This can make their bond feel cool, even distant, especially at the beginning. Capricorn may want more emotional consistency than Aquarius naturally provides, and Aquarius may feel smothered by what they perceive as emotional expectation. But if both sides commit to learning each other's languages, they can develop a bond based on trust, not just sentiment. The key to emotional compatibility here is understanding that loyalty looks different for each of them. Capricorn proves love and friendship through acts of service, reliability, and showing up when it matters. Aquarius shows care by challenging you to think bigger, by respecting your independence, and by supporting your weirdest, most authentic self. Once they stop trying to make the other behave like them, and instead appreciate each other's operating systems, the connection strengthens. Their shared value? Integrity. Capricorn lives by it. Aquarius reinvents it. Both signs care deeply about purpose, progress, and principles. They're not interested in shallow connections or gossip-based friendships. They want to do something that matters, and they want people beside them who mean it. This makes their bond incredibly grounded, even if it takes time to get off the ground. Socially, they differ. Aquarius is more experimental, more drawn to eccentric circles and avant-garde environments. Capricorn prefers meaningful one-on-ones or professional gatherings where ideas have outcomes. Aquarius brings the edge, Capricorn brings the credibility. Together, they're the kind of friends who might not be the loudest at the party, but are the ones others quietly respect, and turn to when things get real. This friendship won't thrive on spontaneity alone. It needs effort, structure, and shared intention. Capricorn wants reliability. Aquarius wants room to breathe. Capricorn prefers tradition. Aquarius invents their own holidays. Without compromise, they'll drive each other crazy. But with understanding, they become the kind of friends who challenge and elevate each other over time, not in some flashy, movie montage way, but in the steady, powerful way that builds something that lasts. When it works, it's not just about friendship, it's about legacy. They may not say, "I love you," often, or even call every week, but their loyalty is ironclad. They might argue over process, but never over purpose. And when one of them is in trouble, the other shows up, maybe not with flowers, but with solutions, backup, and a strategy to rebuild whatever's broken. This isn't an easy friendship, but it is a meaningful one. It asks both to grow, Aquarius to respect structure, Capricorn to embrace change. And if they choose to grow together, they don't just connect, they build. Something rare, something brilliant, something that neither could have done alone. Verdict: 6.5/10 Compatibility, slow to start, powerful in the long run. Aquarius, the revolution has friends. When two Aquarians become friends, it's not just a connection, it's a cosmic experiment. A brainstorm that never ends. A perfectly orchestrated chaos. This isn't your average friendship. This is two alien minds meeting on Earth and immediately recognizing each other as members of the same starship crew. It's weird, it's wonderful, it's wired differently. And if you're watching this as an Aquarius yourself, you already know this is going to be anything but ordinary. Let's start with the basics. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, the planet of rebellion, innovation, and unpredictability. These are the visionaries of the Zodiac, the thinkers, the outliers, the ones who look at the world and say, cool, now let's completely redesign it. So, when two of them become friends, you're not just getting double the intellect, you're getting double the frequency. This friendship is like a brainstorm meeting that accidentally launches a tech startup and a revolution before lunch. There's an instant understanding between Aquarians. No need to explain why you hate small talk, why you ghosted that group chat, or why you're now obsessed with ancient alien languages. Your fellow Aquarius doesn't just get it, they're already halfway through the documentary and planning a VR exhibit about it. This is the kind of friendship where both people instinctively know that connection doesn't have to be constant to be real. One text every few weeks? Valid. Disappearing into a passion project for 6 months? Encouraged. The relationship runs on wavelengths, not timelines. And the conversations, oh, the conversations. Prepare for deep dives into everything from post-capitalist community design to why octopuses might be more evolved than humans. Ideas flow endlessly. Debates don't get personal, they get philosophical. Aquarius doesn't hold grudges over disagreements, they thrive on them. Challenging each other's minds is a form of affection. They don't want you to nod and agree, they want you to blow their mind back. Emotionally, however, this friendship can be interesting. Aquarians are famously emotionally detached, not because they don't feel, but because they process emotion like a data stream, through logic, perspective, and mental categorization. So when two Aquarians form a bond, they may not talk about feelings in a traditional way. There won't be tearful heart-to-hearts, but there will be quiet loyalty, unspoken understanding, and grand gestures masked as bizarre acts of care, like designing you an app instead of writing you a birthday card. This emotional minimalism actually works for them. Neither one pressures the other to open up in a way that feels unnatural. Instead, they build trust through collaboration, shared causes, and the mutual belief that being different is something to be celebrated, not fixed. If anything, their emotional connection deepens the more they realize how safe it is to be their full, quirky, intellectual selves in the presence of someone who's equally unpredictable. But let's be honest, the same traits that make this duo electric can also spark some serious friction. Both are stubborn, both think they're right, both are allergic to being told what to do. So when a disagreement arises, and it will, there's no automatic peacemaker in the room. Aquarius doesn't back down easily, especially if the disagreement touches on ethics, logic, or individual freedom. It's less, let's hug it out, and more, let's debate this into oblivion and possibly start a podcast about it. And while they value independence, too much distance can create disconnection. If both Aquarians get lost in their own worlds and don't intentionally reconnect, the friendship can fade without anyone really noticing, or admitting they care. It's not out of malice. It's just the Aquarian default. Float away before anyone tries to make you feel something. For this friendship to endure, there has to be a conscious effort to prioritize the bond, to check in, show up, and admit that even visionaries need their people. Where this friendship truly shines is in shared action. These two don't just talk, they do. Whether it's launching a nonprofit, building a community garden, or starting a digital magazine for progressive thought, they feed off each other's ideas and inspire each other to take creative risks. They may not always finish what they start, but the ride will be wild, inventive, and filled with unforgettable tangents. Together, they're not just dreamers, they're dreamers with plans and that's a dangerous kind of magic. Their bond often exists outside the rules of traditional friendship. They don't need constant reassurance or matching friendship bracelets. Their loyalty is proven through presence when it matters most: the protest, the brainstorm, the launch party. The genius of this connection is that it doesn't fit in a box. It shape shifts, it evolves, it grows stronger the weirder and wilder life becomes. Over time, they become each other's sanctuary, not soft and fuzzy, but stimulating and expansive. They're not afraid to challenge each other's perspectives, question each other's blind spots, or say, "Hey, you're brilliant, but you're also being a little delusional right now." It's all love, just Aquarius-style love, weird, honest, and probably followed by a documentary link. In the end, when two Aquarians become friends, the result isn't just closeness. It's an alignment, a shared belief that the world can, and should, be different. And while they may never say, "I love you," out loud, you'll know it when they co-build a crypto-powered greenhouse with your name on it. Verdict: 9.5/10 Compatibility. A revolutionary bond that runs on vision, weirdness, and unapologetic authenticity. Aquarius Pisces, dreamers on different frequencies. When Aquarius and Pisces become friends, it can feel like watching two different dreamscapes merge, one painted in watercolor, the other built with stardust and circuit boards. Both signs are imaginative, otherworldly, and deeply invested in visions beyond the mundane. But while Aquarius dreams in ideas, systems, and social change, Pisces dreams in emotions, symbols, and soul connections. They're both tuned into something bigger, but their frequencies aren't exactly synced. One floats toward the stars through the mind, the other swims through oceans of feeling. And yet, somehow, they find each other. Aquarius is an air sign, ruled by Uranus, the planet of disruption, innovation, and intellectual rebellion. Their mind is always scanning the horizon, inventing, questioning, reimagining the future. They value detachment and independence, not because they don't care, but because they process the world through logic first, emotion second. Pisces, on the other hand, is a water sign ruled by Neptune, the planet of dreams, illusion, and divine love. Pisces feels everything, often all at once. Their reality is a swirl of empathy, intuition, and poetic chaos. Where Aquarius theorizes, Pisces feels. Where Aquarius builds theories, Pisces builds inner worlds. When these two signs come together, their initial connection is almost always ethereal. It's not about shared hobbies or schedules, it's about energy. There's a softness, a sense of curiosity, a quiet fascination with each other's strangeness. Aquarius is intrigued by Pisces' emotional depth and almost magical intuition. Pisces is captivated by Aquarius' unconventional mind and cosmic-level thinking. They bond not through the practical, but through the invisible. Late-night conversations, shared dreams, music, silence that doesn't need to be filled. They may not always speak the same language, but they often understand each other anyway. Aquarius communicates in abstract concepts and future ideals. Pisces replies with metaphor, emotion, or a dreamy smile that says, "I get it. I feel it." They don't always need words. Sometimes just being near each other, in the same creative space, is enough. This friendship thrives in art studios, music festivals, spiritual retreats, or long walks with no destination. It's a vibe, gentle, unstructured, and otherworldly. That said, it's not all floaty and perfect. There are real differences that can create confusion or even disappointment if left unacknowledged. Aquarius values autonomy and often keeps an emotional wall up, not to hurt others, but to stay safe in their mental clarity. They may come off as distant or indifferent, especially to Pisces, who craves emotional closeness, vulnerability, and deep, soulful bonds. Pisces, in turn, can feel overwhelming to Aquarius when their emotional needs surge without warning or clear direction. Aquarius may struggle with Pisces' sensitivity, while Pisces may feel neglected by Aquarius' need for space. But the beauty lies in how much they can teach each other. Pisces teaches Aquarius how to soften, how to be emotionally present without needing to analyze or fix. Pisces shows that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's depth. Aquarius, in return, offers Pisces perspective, helping them zoom out and see that not every wave of feeling needs to be followed to the bottom of the sea. Aquarius brings structure to Pisces' dream world. Pisces brings soul to Aquarius' logic. This friendship can become a powerful force of creativity and compassion. If they work together, on a film, a nonprofit, a shared healing project, their combined vision can reach people on both intellectual and emotional levels. Aquarius designs the message, Pisces channels the emotion that makes it resonate. They're not just idealists, they're healers, in their own ways. Aquarius with knowledge and invention, Pisces with empathy and intuition. Emotionally, this friendship is delicate. It requires effort and awareness. Aquarius must learn to show up emotionally, not just intellectually. Pisces must learn to respect Aquarius' boundaries without taking them personally. If Pisces becomes too emotionally needy, Aquarius might pull away, fearing entanglement. If Aquarius becomes too cold or detached, Pisces might retreat into silence, feeling unseen. The key is balance, creating a space where Pisces feels held and Aquarius feels free. In their day-to-day dynamic, expect the unexpected. Plans will shift, conversations will spiral, and logic may lose out to dreams. They might start a conversation about climate change and end up talking about reincarnation or the shape of the soul. They may plan a road trip and end up in a cafe writing poetry about quantum physics. It's chaotic, but it works. Because neither one is there to control the outcome, they're just enjoying the journey. Their shared love of mystery and the unknown is another point of connection. Pisces loves the mystical, the spiritual, the unseen. Aquarius loves the scientific, the futuristic, the revolutionary. When these two merge their fascinations, they can create a friendship rooted in wonder. They may stargaze together, dive into tarot cards and alien documentaries, or co-author a blog that blends astrology with social theory. It's never boring, it's just strange, beautifully, unapologetically strange. This friendship doesn't always come with clear definitions. They might not be the best friend who texts every day or shows up at every party. But when they do connect, whether it's once a week or once a month, it feels real. Cosmic, like time bends around their conversations. They may not do friendship the conventional way, but what they have is deep, real, and often unforgettable. Over time, Aquarius learns to appreciate Pisces' quiet loyalty and emotional truth. Pisces learns to trust Aquarius' unconventional ways of showing care, the strange gifts, the deep questions, the respectful space. They may never fully get each other, but they'll feel seen in ways that matter. And when the world feels too heavy, too loud, or too numb, this is the friendship they return to for inspiration, softness, and meaning. Their connection reminds us that logic and emotion don't have to be at odds, that intellect can be compassionate and emotion can be expansive. It's not a friendship that makes sense on paper. It's a frequency, a feeling, a quiet revolution of the heart and mind. Verdict: 7/10 compatibility, dreamy, delicate, and beautifully strange. So, what's the bottom line? Aquarius can befriend any sign, but only if there's mutual respect, intellectual stimulation, and room for authenticity. They're not everyone's cup of tea, but for the right person, they're the whole kettle. Aquarius is not the kind of friend you slot neatly into a category. They're not the dependable, text you every morning, buddy, or the warm and fuzzy, let's watch rom-coms and cry companion. Aquarius is the friend who shows up with 3 new conspiracy theories, a half-baked business idea, and a playlist that somehow gets you more than any human conversation ever could. They're the enigma, the innovator, the social alien with a surprising heart of gold, and for the right person, they're exactly what you didn't know you needed. What makes Aquarius unique in friendship isn't just their originality, it's the way they challenge everyone around them to be more themselves. They don't want clones. They don't want approval. They want evolution. Whether they're bonding with fiery Aries, grounded Taurus, moody Cancer, or mystical Pisces, the key ingredient is always the same: freedom to be real. Respect is the glue. Aquarius can tolerate a lot, eccentricity, messiness, even dramatic meltdowns, but they will not stick around if they feel judged, boxed in, or intellectually underestimated. They need their friends to see them not as a fixer-upper project, but as a complete, ever-evolving system of weirdness and brilliance. And in return, they give others the same gift: space to grow, space to question, space to be. That said, intellectual stimulation is non-negotiable. Aquarius doesn't need a friend to agree with them. In fact, they'd rather you didn't, but they need you to think, to question, to engage. They want someone who gets excited about weird topics, who can entertain ideas without immediately needing answers, who knows that the conversation is the point. If you're not up for spontaneous deep dives into futurism, existentialism, or the ethics of AI in dream interpretation, you might get left on read. And then there's authenticity, the core of it all. Aquarius cannot fake it, won't fake it, doesn't even know how to try. Their friendships aren't about appearances or social ladders, they're about shared energy and mutual weirdness. If they like you, it's not because they're supposed to, it's because there's something in you they recognize. Something untamed, curious, honest. Something real. They're not everyone's favorite flavor. For some, they're too cold, too heady, too inconsistent. But for those who get them, who don't need constant validation or emotional predictability, they're magic. They're the friend who'll disappear for a week and then come back with tickets to a thought leader summit in a forest. They're the one who remembers your weirdest childhood dream and sends you an article that proves it might not have been so impossible after all. They're the one who doesn't always say, "I love you," but will build a freaking robot that says it for them. Aquarius friendship isn't about tradition, it's about transformation. You don't just get a pal. You get a catalyst, a mirror, a spark, someone who'll challenge you, change you, and stand by you, not because it's expected, but because they chose to. And once they choose you, you're in their universe for life. So if you've ever felt like your friendships didn't quite fit the mold, if you've ever wanted more ideas, more honesty, more electric strangeness, maybe what you've been missing is a little Aquarius energy in your circle. Not for the drama, not for the sentimentality, but for the freedom, for the originality, for the kind of connection that doesn't just support you, it expands you. If this resonated with you or surprised you, don't just sit there. Like the video, subscribe for more Zodiac deep dives, and check out the links in the description for bonus content and behind-the-scenes thoughts. And hey, drop your sign in the comments. Let's see who's vibing with Aquarius today.